Republicans taking control of the U.S. Senate in a midterm election rout. Let's bring in our roundtable of experts, including Nicole Wallace, Donna Brazile, Bill Kristol, David Plouffe, and Matt Dowd. Matt, let's start with you. How bad a night was this for Democrats?
It was really bad. I think it was, when you take a look at the election results in 2010 and this year, this was a wave, a Republican wave that hit the Democrats and the president hard. And every race that was broke at the end, broke in the Republicans' favor. And I think this president, when you add up the numbers, will have suffered, for a two-term president, the worst midterm losses of any president in the last 50 years.
Nicole, can this president work with this Congress and this Senate over the next 2 years? Is there any hope of anything getting achieved?
Well, we'll see. I mean, what happens usually after an election like this is both sides overread what the voters were trying to say. And I think that one of the overwhelming messages that Democrats and Republicans were sending tonight was that they're tired of business as usual. They're tired of the gridlock. It was very clearly an anti-democratic sentiment and anti-white against this White House. But it was also, I think, a statement about dissatisfaction with Washington. So I think there's a great opportunity for Republicans to show that we have a proactive agenda. We're waiting for results in Virginia, where Ed Gillespie is the Republican candidate there, and you know, Ed was one of the few candidates who had an alternative to Obamacare. So I hope that Republicans will come out and try to govern.
Donna Brazile, proud Democrat in a blue blazer. Is there any silver lining you can find in tonight's results?
Oh, well, in Washington, D.C., where I live, Muriel Bowser won. No, it was a tough night for Democrats. It was a difficult map, bad geography. History was not on our side, but you know what? We get to fight in 2 more years.
Bill Kristol, is there any Republican who emerges from this night as a strong candidate or a stronger candidate in the 2016 race for the White House?
You know, I think most of the likely candidates could rationalize this night as confirming that they are the right person for the job. John Kasich, the governor of Ohio, wins a big re-election victory. He's pretty moderate. He went along with Obamacare in certain respects. Scott Walker, though, who's fought the unions and the Democrats pretty fiercely, won for the 3rd time in 4 years in Wisconsin. Ted Cruz can say, hey, I shut down the government a year ago. Wasn't that supposed to destroy Republican hopes this year? It doesn't seem to have worked out so badly. But Marco Rubio and others can say, no, a more forward-looking moderate is the right way to go. Chris Christie did a good job raising money for Republican governors. So I think you'll see them all over the next couple of weeks, a couple of months, explaining how these election results suggest that maybe they're the right person for the job in 2016.
David Plouffe, will your former boss, President Obama, recalibrate in any way, and should he?
Well, I think you're going to have to acknowledge the results of the election. I agree with Nicole. I think it was anti-incumbent, but clearly frustration with the Democratic Party. So I think you have to acknowledge those results. And I think that you have to, you're going to have to really reach out here and try and find ways, not for the political purposes here, but you've only got 2 years left. So you want to keep making progress on the economy, on fiscal issues, on immigration, on education. So I think you've got to find every possible moment. I actually think I think it would be good for the president to find some areas of compromise. I actually think it would be good for the Republican Party. So, you know, this may be a place where everyone's interests align. I don't want to be too optimistic about it, but I think there'll at least be a few months here where there's potential deal space on some of these issues.
Matt Dowd, we've got a couple seconds left. Is compromise in the next couple of years, are the odds of that about the same as my finding a unicorn in Central Park?
Well, I don't know if you're looking for a unicorn, but good luck with that. I think actually there is room for this. And I think the biggest thing for me that came out of this is the same number of Republicans and Democrats showed up, but what decided this election was independent voters. And where they split is where the Republicans won. And if I were the president of the Republicans, I would look at those independent voters and say, what can we do together to figure out a way to appeal to them?
Matt Dowd, Nicole Wallace, Donna Brazile, Bill Kristol, David Plouffe, we thank you. So great to have your expertise and analysis on this big night in American politics.